the great Shaiva masters bring forward a word that we all think we know what it means, but that is used from a highest perspective, yoga. The yoga of wonder, astonishment, and ultimate liberation. The yoga of non-duality. And when Abhinavagupta uses this term yoga, he's not referring to even necessarily what Patanjali articulates in terms of the so-called Ashtanga or eight-limbed yoga, or what he articulates in terms of the Kriya yoga. Although from a historical perspective, we must study the Patanjali teachings on yoga in order to understand the further iteration and elaboration and refinement of what Abhinavagupta and the great Shaiva Shakta Siddha masters mean by this. For them, yoga is about the journey of enlightenment, the stages of enlightenment, the stages of radical transformation. This is elaborated, or at least it's encapsulated in an aphorism from my most favorite of the sutras of this text, if one could say such a partial thing. Vismayo yoga bhumikaha. Vismayo yoga bhumikaha. Vismaya means astonishing, outrageously extraordinary, wild even, bizarre, unpredictable, causing a sense of wonder, a sense of surprise, a sense of really being blown away by something. Vismaya. Yoga bhumikaha means the stages in the journey of enlightenment, the stages in the ascensional journey of the enlightenment of human consciousness. And by using the plural form in this aphorism, the Shiva Sutras indicate to us that there is more than one such stage. There is more than one such bhumi, or ascensional stage. There is a kind of architecture of the stages or floors or levels, or the building, in a certain sense, the temple of enlightenment. And the understanding of these this is something extraordinarily powerful and clarifying. It's one of the topics that I have pursued throughout my entire life, is the clarification of what still remains extraordinarily confusing. The literature of mysticism, the literature of esoteric traditions, the literature of so many great masters. And there doesn't seem to be a kind of discernible, easily understood structure of interpretation of all of it. You look at all the mystical traditions and you say, well, this tradition over here seems to be teaching and offering this kind of perspective. This other one is offering this other perspective that seems to be completely antagonistic, contradictory, and incompatible with the previous one. And yet here is a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth different perspectives, so many perspectives on sort of mysticism that have been brought forward. This is something in my very early interactions with my first meditation teacher, Maharshiji, where he said, yes, in the so-called Kali Yuga, the age of ignorance, the age of darkness, these understandings have become muddled and mixed up. The word in Sanskrit is mishra, confused, and mixed up, muddled, and really misinterpreted by being interpreted in a very superficial way, in a very partial way, in a very incomplete way, and then misinterpreted also, greatly misinterpreted, because access to such stages of enlightenment was itself something that deteriorated almost to the point of being lost during the Kali Yuga age. In other words, there may be texts describing enlightenment from multiple perspectives that appear contradictory, muddled, confusing, or seemingly incomprehensible, and they're made all the more so because access to the actual processes by means of which the attainment and the experience, the states of higher consciousness. This was something that was lost. It wasn't lost altogether. It remained present in certain powerful, but yet many times isolated, and many times also challenged, sometimes many times persecuted, and so on, traditions of esoteric teaching, so that there certainly was a continuation. It's like a candle, so to speak, to illuminate the darkness of the night. Useful, but yet also limited in so many ways. With the dawning time, and we are in this paradoxical sandhya, betwixt and between time, between this age of darkness and of ignorance and of widespread confusion and topsy-turvy mess of life that has persisted for a very long time. And now we're in this fascinating threshold, very challenging threshold, a very challenging time, which I'm not going to expatiate on that tonight. But nevertheless, we know we're in this extraordinary time of a kind of planetary karmic burn-off of such an extreme and accelerated sort. And we are on a threshold to the arising of a time of knowledge, a time of truth, a time of light, a time of profound mastery, a time of naturalness, spontaneity, and ease in the combining of individual life with cosmic reality and cosmic and absolute consciousness. So yoga, in this sense, in the highest sense, Vismayo Yoga Bhumikaha, the stages of enlightenment. This is something that the great master Abhinavagupta, his prior teachers in his many different lineage streams, the paramparas, so-called, and his subsequent inheritors and heirs, really powerfully brought forward this understanding of enlightenment.